Hello everyone and welcome back to the NLC. We're moving on to our final game. Oh, I'm Viper and Jamada Goldberg. You know,
yeah, all that
people.
stuff.
You can read, it's on the bottom of the screen.
It's fine.
Dusty versus Galaxy Racer, and Jamada, this is T-Bor's world and we're all just living in it.
Yeah, potentially. If anything, if yesterday's anything to go by, Galaxy Racer have been looking a little strong recently in their performances against SNG and of course Resolve. ETXL game, bit of a blip on the radar, but other than that, they've been ramping up, they've been looking better. Dusty still looking a little bit strugglish, unfortunately.
I'm looking at the jungle matchup here as well. Jakey and T-Bor, we talked about them as a duo collectively, and then you have Sawyer and Worsley going into this one, where I just feel like Jakey yesterday also just teared it up. Like, ever since we kind of had the relegation come through from the NLC, and since Galaxy Racers entered that, he was always the player to look at. And while the jungle meta is no longer as farm reliant as it used to be with the jungle changes, it's still very much skirmish heavy, and I think this still very much suits him, specifically with AP junglers still being a thing.
And we've just had our set of bans come through very, very quickly. Karma, Gwen, Lulu, Akali, Nidalee, and Ezreal all off the table, and Renekton is being the priority. There's still a whole heap of power left available, Rumble being a prime example of that, Jamada.
Yeah, definitely. And with the Jace, we've seen a lot of Jaces pop off in the NLC. This champion, once it hits the spikes, really, really absurd. You get the Eclipse, you stack up the Muramana, you start to do a lot of damage, and then you bring in that Schroeder's Grudge. I think that's how you say it. I've never actually learned. That Armor Penium, it just sends your damage through the roof. It's absolutely obnoxious to deal with. So let's see how Galaxy Racer want to close out their first pick phase of that, if they want to stack up any more poke. On the opposite side, though, Dusty with an even stronger response, in my opinion. Thresh plus the Varus to secure themselves a strong bottom side and immediate lock-in of this Nautilus to try and sort of get a bit of a counter matchup in the support lane. I still think it's kind of 50-50. I think it's nice to be able to ult the target that's going to get landed out for maybe a double knockup, but Dusty are still going to have the opportunity to ban away 2 AD carries.
Yeah, and at the same time gives a low mobile champion like Varish a little safe passage with the dark passage rather. But I like the confidence from both teams right now. Insta-lock the Renekton, power picking Jason Rumble, Thresh and Varish to come through, and then Nautilus. I'm looking at, already great picks coming through from both teams right now. Obviously, some more ban targets on towards the side of Dusty where they have gotten through, but very overloaded draft right here, and this is panning out great. Second ban phase taking a bit longer, knowing what they want to get out of that. You can see in Galaxy Racer, they want to get rid of the mid laners, but inside of Dusty, with no ADC being logged in for Monk yet, they're trying to remove some of that. Remember, even though Galaxy Racer are playing strong side, they'll still draft Braum and Cockmo. Like, they'll still go for the Cockmo, even if the comp really doesn't seem suited for it. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of ADC we will be getting from Monk, because surprises, well, he's full of them.
Yeah, he's definitely good. Oh, Jamada, I was just going to say, Monk on the Cockmo, something that we do love to see, and I'm really loving the confidence of everyone just slamming in champions immediately.
Yeah, and on top of that, it wouldn't surprise me if Dusty just ban away the Kog'Maw simply because it's Monk. It might not be like the most objectively strong ban in the world, but they instead are going to remove the Nocturne. They don't want to have to deal with too much dive potentially, because you could still see something like Kai'Sa and then Nocturne, or vice versa in the last 2 bans, and then you've got to deal with all the poke plus the Rumble Ormets and the engage. Could be too much, so they remove that one away. I wonder what the option is going to be for Monk. You think about maybe something that can match the range, I suppose, like the Jhin, sort of in the sense of being a facilitator. So I don't mind it, honestly, in this spot. I think there's not a lot of hard engage at the moment for Dusty. So Jhin can probably be pretty safe in this one, especially in those mid-game team fights. Just open up the curtain call, and then whoever wants to go in from the Galaxy Racer side can.
Yeah, but there's still opportunities to find that right now. I think with the Varus, yeah, he's a strong priority pick, but most of the time when you have locked in this champion, you still play top side. And from the side of Galaxy Race, I'm really looking for that last champion to facilitate this dive in as well. But Dusty, with a poke composition where you can kind of poke your opponents down, then you get the Requiem, and then either they're dead or they're not able to fight. So this is a composition where you have to play very calculated already. You don't want to opt into a wrong fight where you're just not able to quick up the extended team fight. It's Galaxy Racer right now, with the picks they've secured for themselves, they're very much about just pulling it off with instantaneous engage. And with Kiana coming through, every terrain, every chokehold, the Rumble ultimate, the Kiana coming in with her display of talent as well, it's just going to be very hard for Dusty to navigate choke points now.
yeah, fighting in the jungle is going to be so damn near impossible for Dusty between the Rumble and Kiana ultimates. And then on top of that, you've got all of the poke that can come from downtown from Jace. On top of that, if we start to see sort of small skirmishes break out on the top side, I want to see a fast-paced game from Galaxy Racer. I think the mid lane priority is going to be a little bit difficult to work around, but if Jackie can sort of move into the mid lane, try and unlock Tibor a little bit, or even just try and force the 2v2, because I think just flat out 2v2, Dusty might not be able to keep up with this as long as the health bars are relatively high at the start of these skirmishes. Dusty may run into some issues there. I think compositionally, they've probably got stuff that they're very confident with. They've got what could end up being 3 priority lanes plus a Karthus, so there is a lot to work with there. The Karthus could end up sort of getting a bit of a freebie in the early game, but we're going to have to see how the early develops. I think the first 10 to 15 minutes is really going to be a strong indicator, as it tends to be in the NLC at the moment, of who's actually going to pull out ahead and win.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a Karthus, we've got a Kiana, we've got some really awesome picks for our final game of the day, and a couple of pretty awesome casts as well. We won't give them too much of an ego boost. Orcs and Hitbrain, let's go.
Can't boost it any higher, mate. It's already as big as it gets. Anyway, we're getting ready to go into our 5th and final game of the day, and the Kiana as the final lock-in there for Galaxy Racer. Orcs, what are you making of these comps?
Bit of a banger, honestly. I feel like for the start of Galaxy Racer, their team fighting is just so solid, so consistent. It's going to be really hard to deal with them in a 5v5 or even those skirmishes. Yeah. But I feel like both teams can snowball so hard. The fact you have this Lucian with a Karthus, if those two get ahead, really scale well into the late stage of the game and can have so much momentum. So it's simply a matter of Galaxy Racer sort of hit their item power spikes. I'm favoring them pretty heavily, but there's definitely a sort of win condition for Dusty. And honestly, something I'd like to see is actually a level 1 invade, because Kiana and Rumble are 2 terrible champions level 1. Kiana, obviously, you kind of need W and Q to really do something. And with Rumble, you're starting W for the clear. Whereas Karthus, really good level 1. Lucian and Varus even as well. So potentially invade there could find a pretty significant advantage.
So we had a little issue during the load into the game, so we are going to do a quick remake and we'll be getting ourselves into this game. So a little bit more time for us to chat. I mean, all our games have been pretty fast, so we're ahead of schedule. We got time for this, Orcs. Yeah, I didn't expect to see a Kiana. It's been a while since I've seen a Kiana. She had that stage when she first came out, and she was really scary, actually. What is she like at the moment? I haven't seen a Kiana in so long, not in solo queue, not in competitive. I've just not seen a Kiana in a while.
She's been pretty good in solo queue at higher ranks. Like she actually got a nerf not too long ago, just on the movement speed she gets from having an element. Simply because she was a really strong high-low solo queue pick. She was able to roam a lot of burst damage. And it's basically like, you know how you have things like Jace and Lethality Varus with the Prowler's Claw who just do a ton of damage? Kiana, another champion that scales so well with Lethality and is capable of doing a huge amount of burst damage. Plus, we're talking skirmish meta, we're talking a lot of team fight focus. He really leans well into that. And I think in competitive, we haven't seen as much of her because just not as reliable. And there's a lot of picks that can sort of deal with her in the laner phase. I do actually think that this matchup in Lucian might be a bit tricky earlier on. Once she gets to that sort of team fight phase, she should be able to just absolutely dominate if she's finding those big ults, those big executes.
Yeah, I think also when you think about, what Jamada was hitting on the desk is that you can set up with the Supreme Display talent on top of an equalizer, and you just have so much terrain to kind of work around, and you can actually, these kind of chokehold team fights are really scary, just because of the fact that there's so much ways to utilize that. But on the other side, Dusty do have the ability, which Ghoulborg hit on, is land the poke, get them low enough, and then just requiem them. It's kind of, you can't dodge that without Zhonya's or anything like that. So it feels like both teams have like conditions to play into. It's going to be very much on Galaxy though to play this game aggressively in the early stages of this game. It's typically what we've seen in the NLC is our games are fairly short. They are very one-sided games for the most part, and it's normally decided by these early games. So if Galaxy Racer have a good early game, I think this game is pretty much in the bag for them just because of how snowbally all our games have been. But if Dusty, they don't get heavily punished, the Varus kind of hits those 2 items, those kind of maybe 3 item mark as well. You've got the same kind of coming in from the Karthus. Then I think Galaxy Racer, if they're not too far ahead, have to be a little bit concerned.
I actually think something else to mention here, which is pretty important and doesn't always get talked about, is Dragon Soul will be very relevant here, but not actually for the soul itself, but for the terrain. Because if you look at the Mountain Soul, how it adds terrain, and in a lot of scenarios, like in the Dragon Pit, makes it more enclosed, it really helps Kiana set up the strong ultimates. The extra terrain in the jungle means the Equalizer is a lot more threatening in those choke points. Whereas on the other side, if we do end up with an Infernal Dragon, we could have a scenario where it's a lot easier to push into the river, because with all that terrain removed, if there's a choke that's blocked off or is a bit dangerous, you can move around on the other side. It really opens up the jungle and makes it easier to move through without necessarily walking into a poke. So we could see a scenario where Galaxy Racer, actually, the way they team fight is dictated a little bit by how the terrain changes with these dragons. So something to look out for when we do get to that point where the third dragon comes up.
The remake is almost done. I've got it on my screen right now. We're on the final picks here, so 1 minute until we start getting that loading phase.
Kiana, can you believe that?
To the game. I actually did not see the Kiana pick coming in actually there.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking for everything else on the side of these teams. I've just had a visual refresher of what the team comps actually are. The Fresh, obviously, going to be quite nice to kind of peel away the likes of Ventest and Sawyer, the less mobile members of their teams. So you do have that to work with. Seeing Fresh kind of be banned quite consistently during the first few weeks of the NLC, and then it started to get picked up. In most games, it wasn't banned. And the impact that champion has when you think you found a pick and the lantern flies over the wall and whoever you're picking just flies away from you and into the safety net of their Fresh. It's scary. It's really rough to deal with a Fresh at times.
It kind of, in this scenario, there's a lot of CC on the side of Galaxy Racer to set this up, but what it kind of does is it denies the just open with Equalizer. There's a lot of scenarios, we saw some of them from Nulty in the last game, where you just throw down an Equalizer with nothing else, and that's enough. You know, it chunks them out, they're struggling to move off it, it allows you to follow up with the engage. With the Thresh there, you're not really as able to do that as freely. Of course, you can do it on the Thresh himself, but like if you're looking to throw an Equalizer on Varus, Thresh can lantern him off, and you lose a lot of value. So in this scenario, kind of looking more for the CC setups from the Nautilus, potentially even from the Jhin, and obviously the Kiana as well, to ensure that they're stuck on that Equalizer for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, it kind of changes the way you have to play this, that Fresh. He really does stop you from just being able to snap start and engage if you don't have that hard CC, but Tibber can set up for that. He has the Supreme Display of Talent in the jungle pit, in the jungle and in the pits and things. It's going to make life really, really hard for them. But we finally loaded through onto the game. Apologies about the extended loading before we got into this game, but we are finally on.
Why don't we start the game, Jake? What are the casters doing?
Yeah, I know. It's the caster's fault. We actually start every game. All the lobbies are us. So anytime there's
I forgot to hit the button. There we go. Right. Okay. Sorry, guys. Didn't press the start game button. That's my bad.
So the game has started. Now Ox has pressed it.
There we go. It's that easy.
Any early stuff going on as we have MasterCard Nexus Insight. Galaxy Racer have the shortest average game time of 26.2, fifth highest total kills of 118, and I didn't get to read the rest as we've gone into a pause. Just gonna find out exactly what that is, but yeah, we have a pause again. It's
loving it.
It's been one of those days. It's already ticking down. The game's already started back up, so don't worry.
We're ready. Last game of the day. Hoping it's going to be a banger. Galaxy Racer definitely favored, but you know, we've seen Dusty upset Fnatic, and I feel like if you can beat Fnatic, you can beat anyone.
Yeah, and I mean, if we actually talk standings right now, Dusty are 1-7. That one was Fnatic, but they are 1-7. It's not been a great start to them to the split. Galaxy Racer, on the other hand, 5-3. They've challenged some of the teams they played it versus. They've not been a weak team by any means.
Yeah, there's definitely been windows. I think Sawyer in particular has been a player who has often been quite proactive, and particularly the Nidalee game where he was able to find the momentum. Karthus isn't necessarily a champ who can do the same in terms of like the aggressive invading, but honestly, the clear speed's there, and I feel like you can do a lot with the Karthus. Did see it in the LAC, although was running TP there, and I've seen Exhaust also as an option. Flash, you know, kind of similar to some of these top laners we've seen run Ignite. Flash not always necessary as such, because with the Karthus, flashing in doesn't always have too much benefit. But we might actually be seeing that invade, and I was calling for this, so I am really happy to see it.
Well, they're going to clear out the vision, and Galaxy Racer are going to give it up. There's nothing they can do. This does mean the map might get split here, but Jakey's on the Wolves, so he's nowhere near.
They can't fight it. Rumble is so useless in this scenario because like all he can do is overheat and run at you. And Soya is so strong on Karthus level 1. So I love to see the invade. I was talking about it as we were loading in. Well, not as we were loading in prior to that, but it's what you need to do to find that early momentum. And like you have the mid priority already. So you really need to run away with this early game if you're going to come out ahead in this game.
Instantly able to pick up the bot lane priority as well. As Monk and Wendell just going to have to deal with this, but I think Dusty should be hitting level 2 first, and Galaxy Racer recognize that, so they instantly back off and coming in on the next minion. And there it is.
Kind of standard though. If one team does have the pressure advantage, you kind of just give them a lot of space. They'll miss a couple of CS, but it's not really too much of a big deal in this scenario. It does just mean they're getting zoned off with the CS. But again, the wave's going to stack up. At this point, the wave's so big in return, they're only missing a couple here and there. You know, it does give windows to Soya. You got a huge amount of prio bot lane, huge amount of prio mid lane. You're feeling pretty comfortable right now, and you've still got more jungle to clear.
I believe he took the Grump as well from Jerky. Yeah, he did. So he's still got his jungle to deal with. Now, Kakan will spot him out. Don't think Kakan's fancying anything here. He might go for an empowered shot blast, but the smite comes down and Kakan goes, all right, you take that one, friend. Now, both junglers are on this top side, although Sawyer's making his way down, so there is going to be no skirmish over this crab.
Yeah, I don't think you can test this one with Kakan just able to move freely. Even though Warzy would be there first, you know Tibo would quickly follow, so you're just going to move to the bot side and be able to take that scuttle for yourself. A lot of damage there.
Wait, Wendell's ignited. He's going low. He might.
He will live.
Just about survive. Whew.
Potion's OP.
Close.
But yeah, a close one. And I mean, this is kind of one of those scenarios. Again, I've brought this up so many times, the Nautilus Thresh matchup. So a lot of people like the Nautilus matchup because you can engage straight onto him. You just throw that hook at him, especially when Thresh goes for his own hook and he's a mobile. It's a really easy land. But like vice versa, it's very easy just to grab the Nautilus and pull him in. He has a really large hitbox.
Oh, mid lane.
It's
Nice one, looks to be breaking out. Tibber has no flashes. Use the ignite as Warzy's jumping in onto him. Tibber going very, very low. Thank you to that Q. He's able to get away. Don't know why I said thank you. Thanks to the Q, he got away.
Yeah, but now has been those summoners. But obviously, Warzy down his return, so not too much of a disadvantage. You're going to see Soya pick up that boss side scuttle. And actually, you could go for the enemy Grump here if you really wanted. Like, your bot lane has so much control.
Yeah. Is he going to do it? He's thinking about it. No, he's not. He's going to go back into his jungle. He's still got to reset his frogs.
I think his bot lane are more concerned about shoving in, and Wendell is coming back from base. So maybe a little bit over-ambitious to go for that one. MTS needs to get out, though.
The support has just finished up the recall. He's going to have to get out. Should be able to.
This is a flash. He has to flash.
Oh, he has to flash, yeah. He's decided to recall. Oh, there it is. Let's get a nice amount of damage into Wendell, but
this is actually pretty big because it delays his reset. He's not even able to recall now. Until he finds fire again. And with low mana and not having back, you'd think he wouldn't be able to recall so easily. But Monk, yet to reset, is just going to give him a bit of a window. Not too much of a concern, but you can see bot lane, big CS advantage, mid lane, big CS advantage, and Blue's there to try and apply more pressure.
Yeah, Tibber able to jump away though. To safety.
And for me, I think this style works for Dusty. You know, Soya is a strong jungler, able to take advantage when he's given space to work, and I feel like Dusty prioritizing these lanes which have prio allows him to have a more aggressive early game, and I think this is kind of the way that they beat Fnatic was by having that priority, having a strong jungler, and it's a similar sort of composition here and is honestly probably their best chance at taking games.
Yeah, they're in a pretty good spot right now. They got themselves the gold lead. Swifty Beat's now been finished up for Monk, so he's going to be nice and quick around the map as MTS has got the reset off and got us serrated. Serrated onto Tibor too. And, you know, we said we want to see Galaxy be aggressive early. So far, I haven't really been able to find an opportunity to punish. And Tibber making his way down. This might be the opportunity. Got that supreme display of talent, but with the wave a little bit too far away and the respect being played by Dusty, there's no opportunity to go for that gank.
Yeah, not really given an open option. Now things slow down a bit, but Sawyer potentially leaning towards that bot side. I think he was just trying to fish out for Jakey. I think now is the sort of window when we have that Requiem available where Dusty are really open to go more aggressive in these plays. You don't even have to kill a target, just get them low enough that this works. And ideally, that's what they want to start doing, making use of that Requiem. And the ideal scenario is that you have the Requiem on cooldown as much as possible. You can get more out. For now, they're moving towards the bot lane. And actually, Wendell engages.
Nice little hook into that equalizer. That's what we were talking about. First blood picked up for Monk, and now Blue being chased down. Blue able to get away to safety. That was that CC chain you need to deny Baloo, who's gonna eat a hook once again. Goes in for a hook, goes in for a flash. The play comes down. Wendell's going a little bit low, and that is the kill for him. Sawyer unable to cash in on that additional gold, as he's just gonna be able to get himself a wave, but the dragon is gonna get started up by Galaxy Racer.
I like the proactive play from Galaxy Racer. You have the CC, you have the equalizer, you find the play, and Dusty not really able to do much in return. Sawyer doesn't really have anyone low enough to ult, although this could be a window. The culling
comes in, great Supreme display of talent. The Requiem's coming down, and Tibble with the audacity will secure the kill.
Lord.
The minion will not finish him off today. Beautiful play by Tibble.
It was like 15 HP. I thought he ran out of mana at the end, but he's able to knock Warzy into the wall. And Warzy just, he sees him low HP, feels overconfident. And considering they burn the Requiem as well and don't get the kill, massive failure there for Dusty. And Galaxy Racer happy to take advantage of that one.
Be able to shove the wave in as well, and that's just going to be more denied from Warzy. As you see Wendell jump over a wall there, as Baloo has spotted him out. Wendell might be in trouble actually. MTS is collapsing with the chains. The chains are going to connect. Gets the arrow off. Goes in for the flash. Goes in for the hook. Another hook comes down. The curtain has been called as Tibbet trying to finish him up, but the lantern will get MTS out to safety. Meanwhile, Karthus gonna get toasted as Kakan will secure the kill.
Yeah, so a little bit isolated there, going for that play on his own, but MTest and Blue get a pick and they get out again. It's fractions of HP in this game, with both Tibor and MTest just avoiding going down, but a lot of action in this early game so far.
Rift Herald is up. No team really looking for that. The reset's coming in from Jakey. Tibo's about to get the Supreme display of talent back, so that'll be the next thing to watch. But let's have a little look at the replay on this mid lane play.
Yeah, so I mean, Warzy's like, I just need him a bit lower to try and get the Karthus ultimate, but moves forward and Tibo finds that window to get the ult in. Doesn't actually have enough mana, I believe, to Q at the end. So gets the ult in, and it's just the final auto that actually does enough. Goes for the E auto at the end. Really close one, but ends up coming out ahead. Even with the Requiem is the insane thing.
That play was so nice, we got to see it twice in the replay. 10 minutes on the clock, gold lead pretty close right now between both of these teams. Zombie getting chunked out a little bit by Kakan.
And you do see potentially looking towards that Rift Herald once again. This is where he died just before, so got to be a bit careful. And actually, Kakan doing a ton of damage to Zombie there.
Oh, it's really scary amount of damage now.
Remember on this pack, we saw Renekton actually on 11-12. He got his Stain against minion waves nerfed. So this poke actually sticks a lot more than it used to. Sorry, Jake, you can speak now.
Maybe I don't want to speak now. But I'm going to have to, because Sawyer's been spotted out by Jakey, and the equalizer just to send him packing. We're not going to be able to get close enough in. Galaxy Racer should just be able to pick this Rift Herald up. See where they decide to use that, whether or not they use it onto Tibble to free him up to move around the map a little bit more, or if they decide to use it on one of the side lanes like Kakan. Keep our eyes on what the game plan is for now. Warzy just going to go over and place a ward, but there's not really much he's going to be able to do about this Rift Herald.
And we've seen like the early pressure from Warzy is kind of deflated a bit in the mid lane. Tibbo able to find more momentum with some items, and at this point you're able with your Q max just to one-shot the waves if necessary. So easily move, and again Sawyer, he keeps trying to find his way in on the top side, but just wasn't really able to. And now they're looking for a potential invade. Wendell might actually be in trouble here.
Blue has backup. Here they come, looking for the flame. They're going to find it into the hook. Warzy unleashes the culling onto Wendell. Wendell's going to go in for a hook. Wendell's holding his life for a while. The stopwatch is going to get used. Here comes Tibet. One supreme display of talent will undo this entire fight as they get locked down. Monk secures the kill. Another one for Jakey as the Requiem will rain down, but nobody on Galaxy Racer is even going to be going remotely low as another kill was picked up into the hook. A lot of damage coming out from Zombie, but the fourth shot from Monk will secure the eighth. Galaxy Racer do not lose a single team member.
I'm going to ask you a simple question, Jake. For the game, we highlighted somewhere that Galaxy Racer want to fight, and Dusty should probably avoid. Can you remind me where that was?
It was in tight spaces like the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, that was just such a doomed fight for Dusty to take. And the thing is, Wendell plays it perfectly. They engage onto him, but he has a stopwatch available. So they're pumping this damage, but he actually procs Aftershock pretty early here, tanks a bit more, then has the stopwatch to buy time. And you can see how Galaxy Racer are collapsing. Bear in mind, this is without Equalizer initially available, but Tebow finds a beautiful ult, and it's just such an easy cleanup. There's no way you're winning the fight in this context, and Dusty just getting overzealous and being way too greedy. And like, you look at Zombie actually doing quite a bit of work here, but it's just not enough when the rest of his team has already died. And now with an ace, Galaxy Racer feeling really comfortable.
Got a lot of items as well. The Rift Herald's going to get used in this bottom lane. And all the mythics have been completed. Not a single completed item on the side of Dusty other than a set of tier 2 boost on Blue, which isn't really an item. And that's a bunch of gold injected into Monk. So we're maybe looking for something onto Khan here. Khan has to be a bit careful. He's going to pay respect, knowing that his team are leaning bot side. We'll just have to give up a couple of plates here to Blue and Sawyer.
That's the thing. I mean, Dusty will get, what, 2 plates there? Galaxy Racer have already taken a tower with all its plates. Have just taken Dragon as well. And they're going to look to take the second tower on top of that. Unfortunately, you know my little talk earlier about terrain, Jake? When I had, I was like Mountain, Infernal. With the first 2 dragons, both those are off the cards. And we have a Cloud Soul, so not drastically impactful in terms of shaping the terrain for team fights, but
if you're Tibber, you'll take this over an Infernal. I know Infernal obviously gives you more damage, but you want more terrain. You don't want to whiff your ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely better than Infernal, but it's obviously worse than a Mountain for Tibble specifically.
But then again, Infernal is also great for Tibble just for the extra burst. So it's like things are really.
A lot of pros and cons to think about. Right now, pretty substantial gold lead. We can see the difference between them, particularly 80 carries, 2,000 gold lead in favor of Monk. Which, I mean, yeah, it's off that tower that they picked up in the bot lane. And now there's just under a 5k gold lead, and Galaxy Racer feeling super confident. You can see they're trying to position into a more spread out sort of map state. Jakey and Wendell trying to move between and support and apply pressure with the waves. Now, Wazzy's going to TP to defend this one, but ultimately not really much more he can do than that. And it kind of feels like the top side of the map, both of these solo laners trapped under the tower, although they are starting to apply some pressure bot lane.
You'll slowly clear out some of these jungle camps and the vision. Wazzy has to be a little bit careful. But, Monk actually almost got that rapid fire cannon now finished up. Almost sitting on his second item when M-Test is not even finished up his Prowler's Claw. Pretty scary stuff, Jakey. Finishing up this wolf camp. Culling goes down and that was close. That was
playing with fire, honestly.
Equal. It was to clear the minion wave so they can take the tower. Don't worry.
Why would I be worried, Jake?
Wasn't whiff. It wasn't whiff. What are you on about?
No, it wasn't. He was in the wave.
Jakey was doing a very tactical ultimate to make sure that his team get a reset off.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he was doing. I mean, look at the ultimate, by the way. Look at Jakey and look how quickly it's ticking away already. How imbalanced is this, by the way?
And Night Harvester gives you more ability haste as well. That's its mythic passive. So
what's the total cooldown? I mean, I guess it's 60 seconds, right? 50.0. Oh,
that's rank 2. That is rank 2. Okay, that's rank 2 at least.
Right, nerf that. Honestly,
it is.
Get right in. Just nerf that now.
Get him on the phone.
Such a broken ultimate, such a short cooldown.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, I mean, 43 ability haste isn't even a wild amount. I guess, yeah, Ultimate Hunter too, you know, but even so, it's just not balanced.
Get old Marky on the phone. Be like, listen, mate, this ain't
It's up 2 seconds and it's up again.
Yep. What's it
They're
been? Like
looking.
2 waves? 3 waves? And it's back off cooldown already.
It's not balanced. Now, they are looking to try and pressure this mid lane tower, but I think the waves thinned out a little bit too much. Won't find anything more. They are looking towards that topside Herald, and Sawyer is playing with fire, I swear.
Look, almost lands as arrow. Gonna go a little bit wide here. Galaxy Racer clearing out the vision, but Dusty also doing a good job of clearing out their own vision. There's a ward behind them to go to as the depth charge has been unleashed, and Tibble is coming in. The equalizer is down. And with a wrap of the elements, Tibble will secure the kill. The Requiem can do a little bit of damage, but no one's really under any kill pressure here. But M-Test is low, and the curtain by Monk is cooled. Blue takes 1. M-Test takes the 2nd. Third onto Sawyer, and here comes the backup. A supreme display of talent by Tibble, who has to flash away as Monk assassinates him with a Gale Force. Galaxy Racer able to flatten 3 members of Dusty.
Diving under towers to take them down, and it feels like we said this game would be snowbally, but Galaxy Racer are just pushing it down the mountain. Dusty, unable to even be safe in their own jungle. They just can't step up. As soon as they do, the engage starts to come in, and they just get absolutely melted. It really feels a bit unwinnable at this point. Get the replay coming in. I mean, you know, you can't dodge an ult assault. The equalizer comes down, but there's just too much damage. And then this Requiem is kind of like a Hail Mary. Really can't do much, but it's the fact that they don't even need to kill the tower with the curtain pull and T-Ball just doing so much damage there.
And while we're in the replay, Shaky was able to pick up the Rift Herald, so that's now secured. The tower in the mid was taken by Monk. There is only a 2 tier 2s left. 4 turrets already down for Galaxy Racer. We're 18 minutes in. Third dragon's going to be spawning up. This will be that cloud, and you know, a little bit more ability haste on Shaky's ultimate. We already thought it was on too short of a cooldown. About to get worse. We're going to be getting towards Earth numbers, honestly, from Shaky in this game.
Yeah. Can pretty nuts. And the thing is, I'm trying to work out the window in which Dusty come back in. I feel like this side lane pressure is a potential avenue, but the problem is, like, any lane, if Galaxy Racer want to, they can answer the Lucian with the Jace quite easily, or the Kiana.
Yeah.
There's not really a viable option.
Equalizer's down as well. They're using this just for pressure as the Rift Herald is summoned. Wave gets cleared out very, very quickly. The charge is going to come down from Shelly. Not going to be enough to finish the tower off because a beautiful amount of wave clear did come in. But that is a low health turret, and Kakan will probably just hang about in this bot lane. And Monk will finish up this second to last outer turret. As a hook goes wide by Blue.
There just isn't that much engage on the side of Dusty. It's really like relying on a thresh shot coming in. They try and find someone overstepping here. They're looking for Wendell.
Yeah, they find a hook. He just hooks himself to safety. This tower very, very low, but not quite down yet. Kakan should be able to finish it up as the curtain cools down. Depth charge onto Zombie. Zombie's hooked, and Zombie is down. Galaxy Race to find the kill like it is nothing. As Warzy just going to tickle Tibble with the culling. Inhibitor under fire, and the equalizer once again is laid down. Tibble coming in, looking for that supreme display of talent, but the wall of pain will slow him down. Down goes the inhibitor in the bot lane, and Galaxy Racer, they are just snapping their fingers. 20 minutes on the clock. Gold lead. Not even that big, but the pressure lead is just massive.
I mean, 7k gold lead pre-Baron is pretty substantial, and I feel like Galaxy Racer can head over there. Now this is actually the only window where Dusty have a shred of a possibility to even maybe slightly, maybe get back in this game, and that is to fight them a Baron when they're in the pit. Karthus can suicide in there. Chains of Corruption gets a lot of value.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you lose the game here, it's whatever. The game's doomed anyway, but you need to be set up in this position. Ideally, you steal the Baron as well, but this might be your last window. And the thing is, I could see Galaxy Racer just pushing up mid, then rotating through safely, which might clear out any chances of this.
Sawyer and Baloo setting up. I just want to note as well, before we get into this action, Monk has picked up a GA. Monk is playing to preserve that KDA right now. Dusty waiting for their opportunity to try and contest this Baron, try and stop it from happening. But Galaxy Racer, they're so far ahead, but at the moment they feel like they don't even need the Baron. M-Test will be getting spotted out by Wendell. able to dodge away on the hook, but the depth charges come down and the equalizer into the curtain call. M-Test has to flash away. Monk tracks him perfectly with that fourth shot. Galaxy Racer, they're just not even falling for it. They know that the Baron is a potential window to throw this game. So why not just go for the pick? Why not just take the towers?
Yeah.
Dusty just don't have the ability to deal with it as Monk Gale forces into the face, dodges out on Baloo's hook, and the tower will collapse. Dusty's options in this game are just disappearing before their very eyes as the second inhibitor goes down. And Galaxy Racer now will feel comfortable to step up to this Baron.
Yeah, you take control of the area, you rotate over, shove up, and M-Test was caught trying to position relatively close to Baron. Ends up getting easy. Yep, goodbye.
He's dead. Dibber flashed. Oh, to dodge away from the layways. Yeah, forgot about that. Baron just going to get picked up. Galaxy Racer.
Looking like a bit of a freebie.
Can there be any contest? No Requiem for 20 seconds. Tibber uses the Wrath of the Elements, gets himself caught out. The equalizer comes down. Tibber's already low, but a supreme display of talent won't be enough. The shutdown has been picked up as here comes the hook. Baloo trying to do his work, but Warzy is jumping and dodging away from Kakar, and he gets himself a shutdown. And Galaxy Racer actually losing a couple of members left, right, and center. Zombie's doing a lot of work, able to get onto Monk, but Monk is a GA. He won't be going down, and Jakey will take himself a kill onto Warzy. It's the ace coming in. Although Sawyer has now respawned and only one tower stands between any open lanes. And it looks like Dusty unable to deal with it.
Already a minion wave though. Another one is coming in, but spawn timers, I think Galaxy Racer just back off here. Still really far ahead, but he'd get that shutdown from mid lane coming in. And we'll actually get the mid tower in the end. Monk, feeling hypey.
He's got the movement speed, he's got the GA. He is A-OK. Only an inhibitor standing now. And then it's just the two Nexus towers. And one of those Nexus towers has already taken a bit of a beating. Everybody in Galaxy is respawned and retaken to the Rift.
Gonna take a miracle, honestly, for Dusty to come back in this one. We saw a scenario there when Galaxy Racer are split. That's when there is more of a window to punish them. And you can see Warzy actually finds some momentum in that scenario. But it's still really limited. Because as long as Galaxy Racer are a group, they really shouldn't be losing these fights. Pushing down towards bot lane. They're looking for Warzy here. I think he's just dead.
I think Warzy might be dead. There it is. The terraforming, the supreme display of talent that the curtain is called. Tibber trying to dodge away on everything. And the equalizer just to bury him as Monk secures the kill. The flash comes in. Wendell lands for Hook, and M-Test will lose his life. A double kill has been picked up for Monk already. Galaxy Racer will take the final inhibitor, and Dusty with 3 somehow has to defend versus this siege. Can they do it? As the hook is going to connect, the heal's going to come in, and a great hook by Baloo onto Monk. Underneath the tower they go. Tibber's going low. They're able to take down Sawyer already. As the resurrection comes in, the hook's a little bit too slow. Monk able to flash away, and a hook comes in from Wendell. The deadly flourish is there, and Galaxy Racer just flattened another kill, taking out members of Dusty one by one. Baloo lands a hook, and it is just a fading, fleeting hope. As 25 minutes on the clock, Galaxy Racer secured themselves their 6th win here of the summer split.
You know, and I want to give credit to Wendell in this situation because I've been pretty critical of him. I think there's been moments where I've seen him overstep, over-aggressive, but in this game, absolutely on point with the Nautilus landing, consistent hooks, and it felt like, you know, we talked about the win cons potentially there for Dusty, but they didn't hit the ground running, and Galaxy Racer just did not stop.
Yeah, it was unrelenting, and to be honest, that was kind of the summary of the day. I mean, it has just been constant aggression in every game, and all of these games have just been very one-sided today. You know, sometimes that's just how it is. It's a bit sad because I kind of wanted some kind of hypier games, but unfortunately we did just get very one-sided affairs. Anyway, I think it's time for us to pass it over to our marvelous analyst desk to break down today's action. So Viperoon, over to you.